Welcome to week 3, getting the green light on your change idea. So at this point, you've done your analysis on needs, you're starting to build your business case proposal, and getting the green light takes not only a well thought out proposal, but it has to be communicated. So we're going to talk a little bit about this week about communicating, making the idea stick. Going back to the Heath and Heath book, there's a couple videos that you'll be viewing that'll help you get some ideas on how to make your presentation. So let's go ahead and talk about what's involved in this week.
Assignments for week 3 all focus on getting the green light for your proposal. The activity, Making an Impact, takes you through each step of the important components. Your individual discussion question will help you with ideas about pitching your idea, thinking about your audience, not letting your own enthusiasm cloud the picture. The videos and supplemental resources will be very helpful there. Make it stick clarifies the importance of telling a story to capture the attention of your audience. In your peer-to-peer activity, you're going to be looking at developing your business case. The PROF615 resource will be very helpful here. It lays out every aspect needed in a good business case proposal. Of course, you can use the template that's in the resources, but don't feel that you're required to use it. It's just there to help you. You want to create a good business case. It should be well planned, giving consideration to all stakeholders that change will be impacting. It must be clearly defining the need and also suggest the best solution. Remember to know your why and what is your reason for proposing this change. You also want to know who you're trying to convince with this pitch. So throughout the change process, you may be trying to convince different individuals at different levels of the organization. A few years ago, I worked on a project where I led the training team, and the whole implementation was for new technology system in a local county government building and development department. 3 IT modules that were interrelated were being implemented, replacing 5 separate systems that one of them was 20 years old. It had been updated and patched, and they were just kind of making their way through with it. So in the beginning, the county commissioners were the people that needed to be convinced because they were the ones that were going to approve the budget. Once the project was funded, then the various departmental directors needed to be convinced that it was worth spending their people's resources, whether it's time to participate in the development or time to learn the new system. So that was the next level of making the pitch and getting the people on board. Then once the system was actually developed, now the users needed to be sold on the product and move forward. And those were both the internal users, the employees that use the system daily, and the external customers, the builders and the electrical people and all the people that came in for the building permits had to also be brought on board. So there were a number of individuals, and among each one of them, different types of communications towards the efforts needed to be identified. So there were the early adapters, there were the laggers, there were the resistors. Each one needed its own plan to communicate and bring on board and give the. So what you're going to have to determine is what level of organization do you need to approach for the green light? And then who do you need to address in the change management strategy? A couple of added resources that might be helpful are Vanessa Van Edwards' book, Captivate. She runs the Science of People, and in her book, among many other things, she talks about tips in creating stories that will shortcut your ability to connect with your audience. I found this book very useful not only in business presentations, but also in my personal life. And the other one is PROF615's model for implementing change, and it's ADKAR. Stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. And this model focuses on the people side of change. So if the change you're proposing is more about people change than it is about a system or process change, you may want to look at this model for some help in building your strategy, but also designing your business case. It also will give you some insights in how to communicate and evaluate your stakeholders and others as you move forward analyzing the organizational readiness next week.
So in closing, I want to remind you to plan ahead, look at the weeks to come. You've put a lot of thought into your business case proposal. Now don't forget to think about the stakeholders, those early adapters, the laggers, the resistors. How are you going to communicate to each one of those groups, and when do you need to communicate to those groups? We are going to be creating that business change strategy after you finish getting that green light. So next week we'll be analyzing our organizational's readiness. Keep up the good work. Make sure that you thoroughly have gotten set up so that the weeks to come just unfold very easily for you. If you need anything, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. You can text me at 941-962-1211, or go ahead and send me an email on the American University email. I will respond to text much quicker, so if you need an immediate answer, please send out a text. With that being said, have a good week, and let's go get that green light.